Hello. That's a good start. Oh, hi, Patty. Hi, girl. Hey, girl. We see you back. We see you back there. Hello, everyone. I'm Kaytabulous, your weird millennial aunt, social studies nerd, esoteric media lover, and purveyor of chill. Today, we're going to be touring my island, inspired by one of my all-time favorite comfort movies. That's right, this island is a tribute to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Please take a moment to appreciate my flag. It's a little crunchy, I'm definitely not a talented pixel artist, but I do think it's very silly and cute, and that's kind of the vibe of this whole island. So let's get into the tour. So here is the island's map. We've got the dream address on the screen in case you'd like to visit, and if you do, please let me know what you thought and how your experience was. I wanted to name the island Swallow Falls, the name of the fictional city in the movie.
A tiny island hidden under the A in Atlantic.
But of course, you know, character limits, so Swa Falls it is. On the island, I have two residents representing the two main characters from the movie. We have Sam Sparks.
America, hi! I didn't see you there. It's me, Sam Sparks.
Flint Lockwood, our protagonist.
My name is Flint Lockwood.
And all the villagers are, of course, food themed. We have Chatter, Frida, Zucker, Tangy, Penchetti, Mint, Ketchup, Patty, Meringue, and Graham. We're going to walk through the island generally in the order that the movie occurs. So you arrive from the airport entrance, and here we have the kind of sad, gray, struggling town of Swallow Falls. And yes, there are ratbirds everywhere.
Ratbirds! Hey, what's going on, little guy?
Again, I'm not the best artist when it comes to custom designs, but I'm kind of proud of this one. It makes me laugh and it makes me smile. I put these things everywhere. So at the beginning of the movie, the mayor of Swallow Falls is trying to revitalize the city by opening up a museum to their #1 export, their only export, sardines.
Sardine tourism!
So in the town center, we have Sardine Land.
With rides and exhibits.
Baby Brent will be hosting the ribbon cutting ceremony, and you might get a chance to see Shamu, the world's largest sardine.
And his flaming hoop of glory! Those of you in
Plenty of seating for the show, and of course, if you're adventurous, you can sit in the splash zone.
Yeah!
I wanted this part of the island to kind of represent the beginning of the movie and kind of the status quo of Swallow Falls. Their economy is struggling because nobody wants to buy sardines, so everything's kind of bland, everything's gray. Just a simple little town here at the beginning. There's nothing too crazy going on. Various storefronts, the ratbirds are everywhere.
The ratbirds, yes, they escaped and bred at a surprising rate.
This is where I decided to put Nook's Cranny. I like that it looks like kind of this vintage shop. I actually think that really fits the aesthetic of Swallow Falls before all of the chaos of the movie's plot happens. A really important build for the city is what made the city famous, which is the Baby Brent Sardine Factory. So here's the cannery, another cursed custom design that I made of the Baby Brent branding.
sardines.
But yeah, their main product is sardines, so I had fun making this little sardine factory. Got to use some really fun items here that I wasn't able to use on my most recent island, my Forever Island honey cake, because it's a little bit more of a rustic vibe, so I really do like using the industrial items. Had fun making this factory. Love the tank items. There's a lot of fishing elements all around the island because that's all they have to do, you know? They're really into fishing.
I don't understand fishing metaphors.
Here's one of our residents, Patty the cow. Hey there, stranger. You're new around here, right? Or maybe like, I'm new around here? I mean, who knows, right? Anyway, I think you're gonna like Swallow Falls. It is totes dreamy. How now? How now, brown cow? Gosh, do we not love Patty? We love her. We love her. I really like the view here of our sad beach. It wasn't really that important to me to decorate the beaches too glamorously and too much detail because Swallow Falls at the beginning of the movie is just kind of a sad, boring town. Classic laundry on a rock. We love laundry on a rock. Here we've got a shipping facility for the sardine factory. And this is where we start to see some mayhem happening. So in the movie, Flint Lockwood is attempting to bring to life his machine that turns water into food.
The Flint silver.
But of course his machine goes horribly wrong. He tries to harness the power of the power station to make his machine have a little more juice so that it can be effective.
This is a great idea.
I had so much fun making this little power station. It's a build that I'm really proud of. Just kind of experimenting with different items and using them in a different way. And the machine goes wild, launching like a rocket. Flint has to confront the town's police officer, Earl Devereaux. Such a great character, so many great lines, so I tried to represent him here.
This contact lens represents you, and my eye represents my eye. I got my eye on you.
And this is where we meet another of our main characters, Sam Sparks. She's an aspiring weather girl who comes to report on the opening of Sardine Land as kind of a fluff piece.
Hello, Sam Sparks. I'm America. It's Swallow Falls degrees, and well, let's just go to the mayor.
So here's their news van. She's got her camera equipment for Manny, her cameraman. And this is where things start to go a little crazy. So in the movie, one of the inciting incidents is that after everything goes horribly wrong, Flynn ruins the ceremony. He comes to pout on the dock, and this is where he gets better acquainted with Sam.
Sorry, are you okay?
It's okay. It's just pain.
This is where the shenanigans truly begin.
You know what you are, Flint Lockwood? No, a shenaniganizer.
Burgers start raining from the sky, and it's become apparent that Flynn's machine actually works. I had a lot of fun finding all of these different custom codes, different ways to represent the burgers and all the burger ingredients kind of flopping on the deck like they do in the movie. When I was building this island, I started with the city, and that was nice and it all felt very normal, but once I was able to start just playing with all these silly custom codes and trying to make the town look like it was covered in food raining from the sky, that's when I really got the pleasure that I derived from this island. It's just so wacky and silly, and it was a fun way to decorate. So once it's discovered what Flynn's machine can really do, the town of Swallow Falls starts to change. So here we'll continue into more of the city. I see little Chatter is here, looking fancy and cheesy. I friggin' love Chatter. But anyway, we have another important build for the lore of Swallow Falls. This is Tim and Son's bait and tackle shop.
You feeling it?
This is where Flynn's dad works. A pretty essential location in the movie.
Hey, it's Baby Brent.
What you doing? Stacking cans with me on him as a baby? Uh-oh!
Back here is where I put resident services in the middle of everything, and there are a lot of presents here. If you come and visit the Dream Address, you can have fun with your own wacky food-themed outfits, and a few surprises and Easter eggs related to the movie as well. Down here I put a little parking lot, more rat birds. Oh look, it's Flint Lockwood! Spray-on shoes!
Spray-on shoes! Ow!
How you gonna get him off, nerd?
What a guy. What a guy. So cute. I love this freaking movie. So in the next section of the town, this is representing the scene where Flint has become able to program a device that will allow him to talk to his machine, which has been jettisoned in the sky, and he can actually make requests for what should be rained down on the city. So this is the breakfast scene. Got to use a lot of fun custom codes here. Splat them all over the place, just like in the movie. We've got orange juice splashed down. This umbrella is in the movie too, where they're using an umbrella to catch the orange juice in a big bowl so they can drink it. A little playground here, covered in eggs and pancakes. Back here, another fish build, since, you know, fish is the main industry of Swallow Falls, but as we go through the island, I kind of tried to represent the narrative of the movie and how the city changes as all the events of the plot unfold. Got a little basketball court here. Again, everything is covered in breakfast. Behind resident services, I just kind of have a little filler space. So this is a kind of like wooded park area. Picnic space, some vending machines, and of course just another fishing spot. But this is the simple side of Swallow Falls before the machine, before the raining of food, and before all of the chaos. Back behind the town, we have kind of a special area, and this is where we'll find Sam's house. So in the movie, Flint has a crush on Sam, and he surprises her by making it rain Jell-O, and then building her an entire house out of Jell-O. So I tried my very best to make Sam's house look like it was actually just a Jell-O mold. I really love how this turned out. Like, it actually does remind me so much of the scene in the movie. And what kind of makes the Jell-O mold scene pretty is the way that the light shines through it right at sunset. And that's the time I have my island set. So it like worked out kind of better than I imagined. But let's look inside so you can see the Jell-O house. So inside the Jell-O house, everything is made of Jell-O.
Everything's made of Jell-O!
This was a fun build because it wasn't especially detailed, it wasn't super hard, although the game is kind of limited in orange items, so you know, I did some experimenting, I had a fun time with it. But again, it wasn't really that much pressure to make something profoundly beautiful, and I found that very liberating for me. As someone who struggles with interiors, I don't know. It felt really good to just do something that was all one color, was inspired by one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and also was just, it's just silly. That's what I love about Cloudy with Chance of Meatballs, and that's what I loved about building this island. These are the only 2 rooms that are decorated in the house, and that kind of tracks with the movie too, because it really seems like there's basically 2 scenes, 2 different areas of the Jell-O house that they visit. Man, I had so much fun building this house. That's really all that you're going to find in this area. Again, I wanted to use a lot of space to recreate that whole effect of the scene where you don't see it coming and then all of a sudden, Jell-O house. I can't leave well enough alone, so again, I did have some simple decorations on my beach. You know, it has to be complete. I have to have something that ties into the theme. But the bulk of this area was really just designed to create a moment. I also did end up choosing to set this island during the maple leaf season. Because of the way the maple leaves are falling through the sky, it just kind of, you know, felt like all the different food that's falling throughout the various weird food weather scenes. So it seemed really fitting to me, and of course, sunset just brought the Jell-O house scene to life and also just makes the whole island feel very cozy and whimsical. When you cross the bridge, this is where we get into kind of the latter half of the movie. So Swallow Falls is transformed and rebranded. They change the name to Chew and Swallow, and everything about the city kind of explodes and becomes a little more exciting. All of the stores rebrand to be based on food, accessories, and things that you would need for eating. So here we have a little dish and utensil shop. We've got donuts everywhere, donuts falling all over the bus station, more rat birds. Gotta watch out for the rat birds.
Billy, just play dead.
Here's where we have Abel's sisters, and I put on display a lot of the fun custom design food clothes that I found for this island. I really found so many. I didn't even get a chance to use all of them, but I just love how creative everyone is. Like, wow. Some people's brains, they work different. They work better than mine. I really wanted to put on display at Abel's shop the silicone tea with bib item, because in the movie that is kind of a funny transformation that happens in the island. They have an entire store dedicated to bibs, which I felt like fit for Abel's sisters, but you know what? I couldn't find that item. In the whole time I was building, I wasn't able to obtain that item, and I guess I never found it on a treasure island, so just pretend there's bibs here. Just pretend. Yeah, do that for me. Another important part of building this part of the city is the out-of-sighter.
Flint Lockwood's latest invention, the out-of-sighter.
So I used the bulldozer item to represent that it is scooping up all of the food, that kind of just gets left behind and is all over the ground in the city, and it gets tossed out of sight and therefore out of mind. This won't be a problem later, I promise. Down here I built a neighborhood, and I wanted to recreate the ice cream scene where Flint makes it snow ice cream for the delight of Earl's boy, little Cal.
Strawberry's my favorite.
Strawberry's my favorite. I really had to find so many custom codes for this island and just kind of get creative with it because I only had so many slots. But I am pleased with how the ice cream area turned out. We have Mint's house here and Meringue's house here. That felt fitting. And in general, it was just kind of such a fun challenge to think about what items I could use, how I could manipulate these custom codes to give the illusion of ice cream, and still have room for all the other codes that I wanted. On the other side of the neighborhood, I did include kind of a sushi area. There were so many cute custom codes that were sushi themed. And I gave this area to Zucker. I used the various sushi costumes to represent giant pieces of sushi falling from the sky because in the movie, the food does start to get bigger.
Here's what I heard. Blah, 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 size, bigger.
So this whole thing I find very cute. I love Zucker. He's just, oh, he's so cute. More sushi and fishing on the beach here. And then I built a little boardwalk that leads to our pier and our hotel because at a certain point in this whole rebranding of Swallow Falls into Chew and Swallow, the mayor is trying to capitalize on tourism and encourages people to come visit the city and experience the food weather for themselves. So this is where the tourists would get off and get excited to join the ribbon cutting ceremony of the brand new rebranded Swallow Falls as Chew and Swallow. As we move further back in the city, we start to get to the third act of the movie. Oh, I also have another little shop back here. I guess I forgot about this build, but this was a fun concept. This is the spice market, the seasonings, the toppings, and back here I used the pharmacy item to represent that in the movie one of the stores just becomes a shop for tummy medicine because with all this food, everyone's bound to get a little heartburn. Then back here we have the school. This is a really fun scene in the movie, and it's kind of an iconic illustration in the book that they recreated, which I love. So as the food gets bigger and more chaotic and out of control, a giant pancake falls on top of the school. And I don't know, I was really proud of this idea of using the mushroom table with a cushion customized with a butter code to look like a giant pancake on top of the school. I didn't have room for any more custom designed, but I repurposed the soy sauce custom code that I used in the sushi section to try to represent syrup oozing down the side of the school. So this build was absolutely a point of pride for me. Behind the school, we have a baseball field where cherry pies have rained down all over the baseball field. This is another scene that was an illustration in the book. And it's really only included in the movie in kind of a montage of all the different foods that get rained all over the city. But I think that's so sweet that they recreated the iconic illustrations from the children's book, even if the plot of the movie is obviously a complete deviation from the very simple story of the book. Over here, I put another small neighborhood with some more of my villagers, and this is where things are really starting to get crazy, right? This is representing the scene where Flint realizes that the machine is getting out of control, the food is getting bigger and bigger, and there's big hot dogs all over the place. So this is actually where I put my two vaguely meat-themed villagers. We've got Panchetti the pig and Patty the cow. And this moment where Flint realizes that things have gotten outside of his control comes just after a scene where he tries to take his dad to the Roofless restaurant. So this was obviously something I had to build. It took me a while to realize how I wanted this to look and what items I should use, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. On the beach, we have a little private beachside dining area, something a little more romantic, but this is a very elite club. You've got to be on the list to get inside.
Hey, Brent!
Hi.
You know? Uh-oh! I should be on the list!
But the restaurant has no roof because the food just falls from the sky onto your plate. Next, we get to the part of the island where the movie really starts to reach its climax of rising action, and one of my most ambitious projects, which was to recreate the tomato tornado out of standee designs. I've mentioned multiple times already that no, I'm not an artist, but I think I did okay. I think I'm happy with how this turned out and the creativity I had to come up with to make it look like there is in fact a giant tornado made out of spaghetti and meatballs raining down terror on the city. So over here we have the rebranding ceremony of Chew and Swallow. We have all of the tourists gathering around to watch Flint cut the red ribbon. We've got... I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing because every time I think of this scene in the movie, it cracks me up. It's so silly and so dumb.
Delight in our nacho cheese hot spring.
But this is the nacho cheese jacuzzi pool. Yum. And on the other side of the stage, we have the totally unsupervised kids area, which is basically just a labyrinth of candy for the kids.
Completely unsupervised kid zone.
I used my museum and a gazebo behind the stage to kind of represent the town hall. And behind all of this, there's also the concrete wall that's keeping all of the food back.
Protected by a presumably indestructible dam.
So you can see all of the giant food collecting behind the retaining wall that eventually will break, and all of the food swallows the city. This was another weird creative build to try and figure out how to represent perspective and try to make it look like there's a bunch of food back there behind the wall. And add those layers of depth. Oh my god, Graham, I friggin' love Graham. You don't understand, he's so cute. He's so cute. I don't even like the hamsters like that, but he's so cute. Just wait till you see his house. I had probably the most fun in building Graham's yard for him, but you'll see. And then down this road, we have the tomato tornado. This shows up to ruin the celebration because the technology of the Flamids de Fur has gotten completely out of control. It wrecks the city. It knocks over trees. We've got big tomatoes on the ground. We've got giant pieces of oregano flying through the sky.
Oregano.
It's all chaos.
I had a weird dream like this one.
People are looting. Giant food threatens to crush people.
You are about to be crushed by a giant corn.
And Swallow Falls, aka Chew and Swallow, descends into chaos. So the topmost tier of my island represents the end of the film, but it also transitions into the sequel and what becomes of this place in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. And so at this point in building, I had really made everything. I had really hit all of the major plot points of the movie, but I still had a lot of space to fill and a lot of custom codes to use. I really just kind of wanted to embrace this idea of foodcore and just, I don't know, being really silly. So I decided to incorporate the way that the island evolves in the second movie, and it becomes kind of its own primordial jungle where the food actually starts to evolve into food animals, the foodimals. And this is where I was really just able to have fun. Just use all the crazy custom codes I found, use all different kinds of items. I really liked the idea of using the infused water dispenser at the top of these cliffs above the waterfalls as if it's an infused fruit waterfall. We have a little path leading up to what I would call the climax of the first movie. This is kind of where the finale takes place. We have this treacherous path of hot oil fryers.
That's fry oil.
You must get past this army of sentient gummy bears.
Gummy bears!
And finally you reach the Flamidsdifer, which has evolved and gotten out of control.
It's almost as if it's
Inside a giant meatball.
And Flint and our protagonist managed to take it down. So the rest of this cliff is just kind of what I imagine the weird food evolved jungle to be. All of this is behind the giant food wall that I had to build. Over here I was trying to represent the final illustration that's in the book, which wasn't really included in any way in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the movie. But there is a scene of a snow-covered hill at sunset, implied to kind of look like a pile of mashed potatoes with butter melting on it. So that's what I was trying to recreate here with the glowing moss boulders and the white mums and even a little carrot fence back there. This was a fun part of the build because I truly just got to be wild and silly and out of control. It didn't really have to make sense. I just got to have so much fun and play around. I made a little frozen lake, a little frozen ice cream section. I liked using the cherry blossom petals to represent some movement of just walking through ice cream. And I put a few of the villages up here that I felt really represent kind of the foodimals, which is an important plot point in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too. All the different foods that become cute little animals. So back here we have kind of the fruit section where we have Tangy's house. Her yard has an overlook of the secret beach where we've just got some orange juice and giant orange slices. Again, a really fun part of this island was just trying to figure out how many different items I could incorporate. And the diversity of items and colors and just different types of food and just kind of the whole aesthetic of the movie made it really fun and easy for me to just, I don't know, be wacky and silly and not overthink aesthetic or any of the other things that kind of come up sometimes when we're designing islands. Oh, let's say hi to Sam. It's Sam Sparks. Hi, Sam Sparks. I'm America. Adorable. Now back here we have, as promised, Graham's house. I found a lot of really cute s'mores codes. The idea of using the simple stool to represent marshmallows is just, I mean, how cute is this? Graham has his little s'mores paradise, and I love that for him. Then if we loop around, we come into the dairy section, the dairy and veggie section. So over here we have the, I really forget what they're called in the movie, but there's kind of a taco dinosaur who seems evil at first, but it turns out she's just protecting her taco babies. How cute is that? We have Chatter's house over here. He's our cheese boy. We got a whole cheese garden for him. A little cheese slide, little cheese bear. Oh, I turned the light off. This ended up being a perfectly appropriate place to use the eggplant cow and cucumber horse items, which are very strange, and it is hard to incorporate these into builds, but they make the perfect little foodimals sitting around the campfire. Blending cheese with tomato brings us to Ketchup's house. Ketchup has just got all kinds of pizza toppings, pizza chaos, vegetables everywhere. Delightful. How silly. How fun. I don't know if you can tell, but I had an absolute blast making this island and just filling it with food chaos. And the last place that we're going to visit is actually down here in the town. I did also create Flint's house with our other player character. So Flint has all kinds of junk in his yard. He's got all kinds of projects, much to the chagrin of his dad.
All your technology stuff, it just ends in disaster.
There have to be more rat birds, of course. And I put a little homage up here to his very first invention, which is, of course, spray-on shoes. Flint has his own secret laboratory, which is accessed through a porta potty, I don't know, tunnel? I don't really know how he made that happen.
This is where the magic happens.
Back here we have one of his failed inventions, the flying car. It wasn't until the Flying Car 2, now with wings, that he really was able to fine-tune that design. So let's take a look inside Flint Lockwood's house. I tried to the best of my ability to recreate the living room and kitchen that's included in the movie. It has a very vintage, rustic kind of feel to it. Flint's dad is a simple man, really. This is the remote control television. And sitting right on top of it is another of Flint's failed inventions, hair unbalder. We've got Flint's dad's fishing equipment and fishing trophies on the wall. Nice simple little kitchen. And upstairs we have Flint's laboratory, a hugely important area in the movie. This is where he builds all of his inventions, including the Flamids de Fur. So this again was another fun way to just use some of the sillier items, the industrial and medical items in the games, and even the colorful wheel. There is an element in the movie where there's a colored meter that measures danger.
Don't worry, I have a dangerometer that lets us know if the food is going to overmutate.
What happens if the food overmutates?
I don't know, but that'll never happen.
And so being able to use that item felt like a rare win. I mean, how often do we really get to use the colorful wheel item? So yeah, I think we've really seen everything that my island Swallow Falls has to offer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tour. This is an island that I built on my Switch Lite, so it was very much just a relaxing, no pressure, off-camera kind of project. And it just brought me so much joy. It was so fun. It was so different than anything I've ever built before. It was a fun way for me to relive all of my favorite moments from this movie that I've watched so many times, just as kind of a cozy comfort movie. And I'm really glad I could share it with all of you. I am, of course, in progress of finishing up the next episode about Honey Cake, my forever island. So please subscribe if you don't want to miss that update. If you want to check out all the other videos in that series, I'm so obsessed with my forever island and I have so much more to build and so many more stories to tell on it, so I would love to see all of you there. If you could leave a like on the video to help boost this tour, I would be greatly appreciative. And if you visit the dream address, please let me know what you think. You can also check out my Twitch channel, the link is in the description if you want to hang out for live playthroughs. And I'll see everyone in the next one, so take it easy.